It's Andrea from Social School for EDU. Happy Friday. I am coming at you live to talk about what our schools doing for Homecoming 2020. So if you are joining me live, I'd love to know when your homecoming is. Has it already passed or is it coming up? So just let me know in the comment section and say hi. I'll watch for that. But I am Andrea. I am from Social School for EDU. We love helping celebrate schools, K through 12 schools all across the country. Through social media. And I have heard this question come up in many of the groups that I'm in. People really asking questions about what are you doing for Homecoming 2020? And so I have three things to keep in mind, and then I have a whole host of ideas for you. So I really hope that as you watch this, if you have questions or ideas yourself, will you please let me know? And I see 12 of you on, so that's awesome. If you could say good morning or yeah, I think it's morning for everybody. That'd be awesome. And let me know when your homecoming is. So just comment below. Yes, ooh, your homecoming got pushed back to October, Maria. So this will be good planning time. I know some of you have already had it. So I'd love to learn what you guys have learned. All right. So first of all, three things to keep in mind for homecoming 2020. Tip number one, get your students involved with your plans. Homecoming is all about, when you talk about homecoming, it should be about like your alumni coming back, but let's face it, this year they're probably not coming back for the game because you might not even allow, fans in or limited fans. But you have to involve your students. So, homecoming usually I think is led maybe by your student council or something, but make sure that you as a if you're in a communications role or a leadership role at your school, that it's not falling all on your shoulders, that you are getting folks involved. And good morning, Michelle and Shannon. That's awesome. So get your students involved, okay? Grab those key leaders in your high school to get them involved because they're going to have great ideas. And it is about a great experience for your whole community, but your students will have amazing ideas. I know I have been discussing some ideas with my daughter who is on the student council, and she's like, Mom, we're already doing that. Like, so she's way ahead of it. Okay. So tip number one is you plan for homecoming, get your students involved. Thing to keep in mind, tip number two is we're in a pandemic. Okay. Whatever side you're on, right? It seems political. It shouldn't be, but it is. And things are going to look different for homecoming 2020, but not everything needs to change. So you really need to look at what the guidelines are in your area, what you can and can't do inside versus outside and all of that. But know that yes, it is going to look different. And I do like the ideas that some of you had where it's like homecoming at home, right? And trying to make things a little bit more virtual in that realm is going to be key. But definitely it's going to look different, but not everything has to change. And I'm going to give some examples of what some of those are. And then the third tip to keep in mind is really you've got to plan ahead. And I'm telling you this, and some of you are like October, like early October, which is still a couple, 2 weeks away, I guess. You got the full week next week, but you've got to plan ahead, especially because getting your alumni, getting your community involved with like a homecoming at home, you need to plan for it. And you've kind of got to think some things through. And especially if you are using social media as a component of it, which I highly recommend, because we're in this virtual environment, that will help as if you plan early. So my three tips: get students involved. We're in a pandemic, so of course things are going to look different, but not everything has to look different. And then make sure that you plan ahead. So here's some ideas. And Ashley, I love that you're on. Ashley up at Northland Pines. Today's the last week of homecoming. We've had a senior game event today outside and then a small pep rally recognizing your court members and sports teams outside. And tonight's football game, senior night for both cheer and football. So that's awesome. So Ashley, as I talk through some of these ideas, maybe you'll have some additional insight, which I love, and I've been watching some of what some schools have done, and that's why I got some of these ideas. I learned from all of you brilliant people. So, number one for homecoming for 2020, I think getting user generated content. So that's, we call it UGC, like in the biz, but it's user generated content. What that is it's content that comes from your community and then you can reuse that to celebrate. And I'm talking about on social media, but it gets everybody excited, right? It makes them feel like they're together. So, what I think about when I think about homecoming is I think about photos and story submissions from, it could be from students, from community members, from alumni, but what about getting some photo and story submissions from favorite homecoming moments of the past? Again, you'd have to kind of think about it ahead of time or at least plan for a social media post during your week of homecoming, and then ask for comments to come in like on a Facebook page. Facebook, again, is our number one platform that we use for all the schools we serve. So you just have to make sure if you want pictures that you open up the comments or you open up your page to receive those. And I'll make sure I have a little video that actually shows you how to do that. So I'll add that video in the show notes or in the comments below after this gets done. But you got to make sure that opens it up. So just think a photo or story submission of a favorite homecoming memory. And of course, hopefully you get all appropriate submissions, right? There's always a little risk there, but I think that could be really powerful. And let's face it, we in the state we're in, we're kind of thirsting for some of those stories and good memories, and right, so that could be fun. And then how about photos of school spirit? That could be current or it could be memories, right? And so people could be sharing some of those school spirit. Homecoming's all about that. That'd be critical. Now remember, UGC, user generated content, you can get that and ask for that through just their social posts with using a hashtag. You could submit it via a comment in a Facebook post. You could get it emailed to you. You could ask people to email that in to a special email address. You could get it through Messenger. If you have Messenger open on your Facebook page, you could get it through a Google form. I just think you should probably pick one way to get that type of content in so that you're not chasing your tail and looking for it everywhere, okay? So I like to be able to get it just in my Facebook comments because then it's all there. I could then repurpose what I get for a comment that somebody might read, but I could repost that into a different type of post. Again, if you get pictures submitted when you ask for them, well, then you take the pictures and then you make that into maybe a video montage of a bunch of pictures that you've gotten from years past or something like that, but then you repurpose it. So I love that. The next tip that I have is exactly what Ashley just shared, dress up days. I think that homecoming usually Monday through Friday, there's always a theme for each day, right? I think this year it would be really fun to get your followers involved. And so it's not only asking for your students and your staff to get dressed up, but maybe your community, your alumni as well. That could be really fun. And so Ashley just said that they did dress up days all week in person, but we also included hybrid and virtual students. So that's really critical. If you have a blended learning model right now, or you're all at home, obviously all the submissions would be from home, but if you have some kind of a blended, make sure you do not forget about those students that are learning virtually. So she had them send the pictures to her, probably by email, and then she added them to a homecoming 2020 Facebook photo album. We actually had the same students participate from home every single day. That's awesome. It makes them feel part of it. Ashley also shares a great little ninja tip for homecoming because there's so many photos coming in. She created a homecoming album on Facebook that you could just continue to add to it. And that way, if you make like one post on your Facebook page, if somebody you miss them because they send it in after the fact, it's really hard for you to go back and add. You can, but it's just easier to do a homecoming album, and then that is great. And yes, you got those through email, so that's perfect. Again, I think one of the easiest ways to get pictures in about dress up days is to open up your comments and let people just post them down below. And then again, you could repost them into an album or something, but you could also ask for them via email as well. So that's critical. If you have favorite dress up days, definitely include them. I just had somebody asking, like, what's your favorite dress up day? Again, I'm going to say talk to your students because they know what's hip and cool and what they'd want to do. But also think about us poor moms because I just have sympathy. Like, I don't want to come up with something really hard to, especially put my, elementary kids in or whatever. And so, pajama day and obviously spirit day. I had even said, a lot of schools do USA Day, which shouldn't be political, but this year it could be. And so you just got to think about some of those things ahead of time. But Class Color Day and Decade Day, Tourist Day, lots of days. If you have some of your favorite ones that people have dressed up as, comment below because this is crowdsourcing. All 38 of you that are on live now could give some great dress up days. So don't forget those. Third idea, window decorating. So we do that in our small little community. We don't have very many businesses, but we have a few. So I think they're still planning to do window decorating. You could do window decorating in the school too itself. So decorating some of the windows of some of your classrooms or the main entrances to the building and some of those things. So that could be fun. Michelle just gave a suggestion. We did a Google form survey and let students give ideas. So that's another great idea, Michelle, that's perfect, of getting students involved. So maybe you talk to a smaller committee, but then maybe you open it up and ask more of your students for ideas because they have great ideas and some inappropriate ideas, but some great ideas. And so we want to open that up for them. So window decorating, I think that could be pretty safe, right? Whether the kids have to be in masks or things like that when they do the decorating, but then those make for great pictures, great school spirit and all of that. Hall decorating. I don't know what you're doing for parades, and we're going to talk about a few ideas for parades. But maybe instead of decorating floats for a parade, maybe it's a hall decoration. I also know that some schools are doing reverse parades, where instead of they're kind of setting up outside the school at a certain time, and maybe each class has an area that they're setting up some school spirit stuff, and they're asking the community to drive through. I know many of you did that for like staff parades and things at the end of the school year last year. So that could be great. But hall decorations could be another thing. The thing that I question always is, if we're doing some things that are encouraging people to be together. I mean, obviously, many of our districts are requiring masks inside. I just want us to think about some of those things when you're inside. So that's why some of our stuff is going outside. Nicole is asking, did anyone just let the kids post their own pics to your Facebook page for dress up days? We definitely have, Nicole, and mainly not a lot of kids post them. It's usually the parents are posting the picture because they're too cool for Facebook. They're like, on Snapchat or TikTok. But yeah, we have let them and we have had really good success with that and not had issues. But so I would definitely say that has been. But if anybody else has experience that they can specifically share with Nicole to give her some relief, because you might be nervous about that. So that's great. Kara asked, do people just decorate with general school pride content or something else? Kara, that's a great question on hall decorations. Sometimes they have themes. So I don't know. I've just seen some examples, and I'm not sure what my daughter's school's planning to do. But you could have some type of theme where, whether there's a theme in general for the homecoming in general, or maybe it's a movie theme, and so each class is kind of decorating to a movie that incorporates to the school spirit or to the school winning the homecoming game or whatever. Or just let them be creative. But I'd love to hear other people's suggestions. Usually it's something cute. I mean, I don't know why minions are on my brain right now, but that's what I'm thinking about. I'm probably behind by a few years, but anyways, getting those out are great. Michelle said one of our homecoming advisors mentioned doing snap to it, and you have to take a snap or a picture of your dress up day outfit to you. and each day we drew a handful of winners. So yeah, I love that idea, Michelle, because it gets them, hey, I'm going to get content because we're going to give away some prizes. And I do love, any of these things could include some swag prizes, right? I mean, I always give away lots of my swag stuff just for Social School for EDU, but people are going to participate. Your kids are going to participate, and it doesn't have to be a lot. It could be candy, it could be other things, but great suggestions. How about a video contest versus a parade? So, again, not sure if you're planning to do a parade or not, but I'm just thinking about, again, virtual environment, creating some videos, maybe showing school spirit or a favorite memory. I mean, there's a lot of things that can go on video that you can ask to be submitted. Most of those you'd probably ask via email, and then put those together. I did see, and this is just one more idea of a premiere video. Again, I have a walkthrough of a blog that shows how to do a premiere video, especially in Facebook. So I'll share that as well. I got to write down blog. But you could put together a video ahead of time, but then premiere it at a specific time that maybe would have been when your parade usually goes. Okay, so if that was 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon and you're not having your parade this year, instead you decide to put a little video where maybe your band is playing the school song. Okay, and you've got a video of that. And then you've got a video clip of the choir singing the national anthem. Or, and then maybe you have your court recognition and somehow it's either socially distanced or people have masks on, whatever. You could assemble that ahead of time, and then what a Facebook premiere does is it gives the feel of being live, but yet you were able to piece some of those things together. And again, there's a lot of free video apps that can do that. But I think that is another great idea. So that's cool. We did homecoming t-shirts, same design, different color shirts per grade. This is awesome. So another idea, what about a pep rally? You normally do a pep rally. So here's just some suggestions that I've seen out there. One is outside. So trying to do it instead of inside the gym, maybe bringing it outside where, people can be more socially distanced or whatever. Another idea that I saw from a school was they basically did a small version of their pep rally and then they broadcast it live to the classrooms across the building. So they included their senior class. They included the pep band and the cheerleaders, and then they had their fall sports captains, and I'm assuming they had their homecoming court there. So those people were all in person in one spot, but then they videotaped it and live streamed it to their classrooms. Now, obviously, you got to have some coordination and some tech and videos then in the classrooms. So I don't know if you can do that or not, but that's great. You can schedule things to premiere in YouTube too. We did that a lot this spring. Yes, you're right, Nicole. So you can do YouTube premieres in both Facebook and YouTube. It's up to you. And then Michelle, the bonfire is outside. So maybe you can do the bonfire. I know some schools have said, no, we're not going to, but that's that tip number 2 where things are going to look different, but does everything have to look different? So that's been big. And so Ashley, I think you're jealous maybe that you can't do a bonfire. I'm guessing that's what that is. Outdoor pep rally I already talked about. What about some trivia? Daily trivia that you could do on social media and possibly with some prizes. So again, maybe they're questions relating to the football team's record or when did they go to state or something like that. Otherwise, maybe it's just a random trivia question, but that gets engagement, that gets people following you, so I like that. Another thing is with and I see your question, Nicole, so I'm gonna address that in a minute. But sometimes there's a lot of competitions all through the week with the different classes, right? They're competing against each other. You probably can't do everything that you did before, but maybe some outdoor games. So that could be a possibility of just moving them outside. Again, maybe some more socially distant stuff. You're probably not doing the straw game where you're like passing a lifesaver or, something like that where people are close together, obviously. But there might be some things that you could do, that could be some outdoor games. One school is actually, instead of a dance, because you can't have a dance, they're having a dodgeball tournament outside. And so instead of dancing together, they're throwing balls at each other and, that kind of thing. But is there something that you can do in a safe environment outside to bring the kids together that they could have a memory of that's instead of the dance? I'm not sure. Another idea that I saw out there was a shopping cart parade through the hall. So instead of a parade outside and all of that, they're doing a shopping cart parade. And I think they actually do it every year. I don't know if that helps with the pandemic. Like, I don't know if that helps with socially distanced or, not, they're probably not throwing candy or anything. But I just want to throw that out there. And then another school, they're doing, for games, like an outdoor game, they're doing a scavenger hunt. Maybe in their community or maybe on their campus, and they're using an app called Goose Chase. So it's free, and it's on your phone. So it's electronic that they can do a scavenger hunt. So that might be something that you want to do. And again, run all of these ideas by your students, and they might have other ideas. Nicole just shared, I just feel that we're under such scrutiny. We have all students in hybrid or 100% online, and I just don't know how to have anyone outside without having them start to clump together. Yeah, that's true, Nicole. And I don't even know what exactly some of the rules are, state by state or anything like that. Um, so maybe if you're nervous about that, the bottom line is you know your school the best. You know your community climate the best. You know what people are going to say or not say. And this might be a year where you keep things more local if you are in person. Um, on your campus, maybe you keep the homecoming events, but you don't put them out there as much. And that's okay too. We have to give ourselves grace. We have to realize we're in a pandemic. I've had schools that have had to literally cancel their homecoming because they had to cancel their game because of COVID infections, and like the football game had to get canceled. Some of you have moved it out hoping that, okay, are things going to be better in 2 weeks? Probably not. It's crazy. That app that I call, yeah, Goose Chase is what it's called, Marilyn. So thank you, Lisa, for sharing that. Yep, Goose Chase is the app for the scavenger hunt. So you guys know your community best. Sometimes it's better to be safe than safe than sorry. And especially, I just got this morning. We run a membership group where we do a lot of training and support for social media managers across the country. And, somebody just said, man, this is a really tough job. And I'm so glad I have this group and this support because it's not fun. And, we get negativity no matter what we do sometimes. So we really got to stick together. But know that I realize that. And so I try to be the cheerleader. And I try to give you some ideas. But ultimately, you have to take what I'm giving you and adapt it to your community, your school, what's going on currently there, what kind of, feedback you might get or pushback. So that is really, really key. So those are the main things again that I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to hang on here and answer any questions. And I love all the comments that we're getting. So 3 things to keep in mind: involve your students. We are in a pandemic, and plan ahead. Okay. We are in a pandemic. It's going to look different. Plan ahead. If you're going to get some virtual interaction, all of that, you have to kind of have a plan of how you're going to get stuff. Because sometimes people, they like to just give you ideas like, we should do this, we should do that, well, who's going to coordinate it all? dudes, like I'm one person that manages a social media page. Like if we're going to do some of this stuff, we're going to need help. So only bite off as much as you think you can take, right? Page shared, we're not having a dance. Obviously, there's no social distancing, but we're having a parade outside. And the court will be presented and crowned at the outdoor pep rally. There are football and volleyball games, and we're selling homecoming mums and garters. We're having dress up days for all students and have sold shirts. Homecoming is a week from today. So good job, Paige. Keep us posted. You guys, I love it when you guys share, and you can actually even share on my just on my Social School for EDU page, my business Facebook page that this is being broadcast on. You can share ideas that you've seen. Obviously, those of you that are in my membership group, we always want to share because whether something goes really good or something goes really bad, like we can all learn from each other. If it went really bad, I'll try not to like use specific names or anything. But it's good to learn, and I always learn from all of you. So let's work together to try to make it the best. I know there's been other questions that have popped up. Some of you are trying to celebrate a 50-year celebration in a pandemic. Some of you are looking at Grandparents' Day and what you can do for that. Some of you are looking at resource fairs. Luckily right now we're not looking at graduation, but obviously looking back, we had to worry about that. I hope we don't have to worry about that in 2021, but I don't know what it's going to bring. And so knowing some of these ideas and seeing what's working at other schools will really help you. Michelle just, Marilyn said we're changing royalties to Snowfest in February. So maybe instead you are having a homecoming, but maybe not having a homecoming court, maybe is what I'm getting. And so you're going to do something in the winter. Michelle says the shopping cart would be fun if we use the homecoming court to take the carts through the halls and have students donate items to the food pantry. Then give each person a ticket stub and have a drawing at the end of the day for a prize. Michelle, you're brilliant. You're turning it into a give back for the community, right? Because there's a lot of families in need. So you literally took the shopping cart idea instead of decorating it necessarily, which you could with a little bit of school spirit, but it's all in an effort to do a food can drive. That would make an excellent social media post because not only, your students are all stepping up. And then I love that, hey, if you give something, here's a ticket, although, last night I was at a volleyball game and like the guy like did not want to touch the ticket I had. So everybody's kind of being careful. But you could definitely give some prizes potentially. Decorating the parking lot with chalk is a great idea. It washes away. Chalk's pretty inexpensive, so that would be really fun, and it would be outside. Dress up days for Thursdays when the kids are in school. Virtual students could decorate a window in their home and submit their photo. I love that. Michelle, you're full of good ideas. And Michelle's like only 10 minutes from me over in Bloomer, Wisconsin, so that's great. Any other ideas that you guys have? I don't want you to hold you on for longer than you need to. Any questions that you have? Reach out after this. I'll be watching this stream and definitely popping in there because I think it's really timely information. We were talking about putting a blog together. I'm like, I don't think I got time to write a blog on this, so I just decided to go live and talk because I'm really, I like to talk. But I love to learn from you guys. I love to share those ideas. So let's work together to do the best we can. Give yourself some grace. Don't take all these ideas on. But get with your kind of planning committee, get those students involved, and then plan accordingly. And please let me know what works out well. There may be some new traditions, right? There may be some new things that come out of this that can be really helpful going forward because not everybody can come home to your homecoming game. Ask senior citizens to share their memories of homecoming. Yes, I love that. There are stories around homecoming. There are, special moments that happen. People have pictures, some of those things. Alex, they're doing a pie in the face throw as it's good socially distanced and it's a fundraiser. So that's awesome. Great. Well, keep up the great work, you guys. Our team here at Social School for EDU is just here to support you. I love learning from all of you. We're better together with all of these ideas, and it's all about celebrating our students and our staff when they need it most, right? It's a challenging year, but there are still things that are amazing that are going on. There are going to be naysayers, there's going to be negativity. Don't take that personal, but just keep telling those stories. The world's definitely needs your stories from your school. So you guys have a great weekend. Keep popping in your comments and ideas, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.